Hey everyone, this is Mike Andes, and you're listening to the Business Bootcamp podcast. Today we're talking to Justin, who lives up in Vancouver Island, and music editing is his thing, and we're going to be talking today how he can make making money his thing, using his website, a little bit of influencer marketing, and packaging his services. Before we get into today's show, I want to say a big thank you to Gusto, who's today's sponsor for the show. And I want everyone to go to gusto.com/bootcamp if you're looking for how to pay your employees, do payroll, HR more effectively and more efficiently. There's a lot of things that Gusto does. I want to talk about a couple of those right now. One of those is like when you get a new hire, usually you have to report that to the government. But what you can do in Gusto is just enter all their information in, and Gusto does all that for you. You get all the forms that you need to do and all of that. Also, it also does all your direct deposits. So when you want to pay your team every single pay period, you can either set them up on direct deposit from Gusto, like put in their bank information with their routing number and account number, or you can actually just print out their check right from your office printer. So super convenient. When it comes time for pay period, the last thing you want to do is have to be sending that places to your account, to your bookkeeper, and then them messing up numbers. And so with Gusto, it's all in your hands. All you need to do though is enter in the numbers of hours that they work each week, or their salary, or however you do that. And it does all the calculations for you, and it sends the money where it needs to go as far as L&I, taxes, etc. All you need to do is click direct deposit or check, and if it's a check, it prints it right off and you're good to go. So I'd highly recommend you go to gusto.com/bootcamp. It's only $39 per month and $5 per employee, and it's I promise you it'll save you a lot of time. If you're paying more than $100 a month right now and have less than 10 employees, this is a game changer for small businesses so you don't have to pay a bunch of money for an accountant and things like that. So gusto.com/bootcamp, get a free 30-day trial, completely no strings attached. Use it for your team, and I promise you, you won't go back. Now, let's go talk to Justin. This was a phone call that we did earlier this week, and it was one of the 20 that I did for the 20-minute calls last week. And so lots of fun, lots of really cool interactions we've had in the past week with these calls. Not much sleep on my part because I've been trying to fit these in where I can, early in the morning, early at night, or later at night. And so, but it's been a lot of fun. And for everyone that's called, we're done the 2020 now, 2020. We should call it the 2020 giveaway or something like that. The 2020 giveaway is pretty much done now. So this is one of the last calls that I did here with Justin. And he just finished, when I called him, he was just finishing up an actual performance, because he does dance and he performs. He's a performer, an actor, and so he had just finished, and I'd called him a little bit earlier, and he was actually on stage, so he didn't get my phone call. So this is me calling him back a little bit later. Let's jump right in the phone call, and he'll tell us a little bit about his business. Here we go. Justin from Vancouver Island, BC. Very cool. What part of Vancouver Island?
It's a little town called Chemainus.
Huh. Is that up north?
They have a...
Like the north part?
Yeah.
Okay, very
and
cool.
The whole island kind of comes out to see the theater there. They've got a cool little thing set up.
Very awesome. So I looked at your website, justmusicanddance.com, and so I kind of have an idea of what you do a little bit. But tell me a little bit about how you started the business. Kind of like give me some context, and then let me know kind of if there's anything I can kind of help you with or talk through with you.
Sure. So I started, I was trained as a dancer, and I'm a music theater performer. I've kind of left the dance part aside now. But my girlfriend who owns a dance studio in Winnipeg in Canada, was getting me to edit all of her music all the time for her competitions and her recitals and stuff. And when I would go to the festivals and competitions, I realized that the music out there is really poorly edited. There's skipping beats all over the place, and almost sounds like people are still using the dual cassette tape where you used to have to like pause one side and flip the cassette over.
Yeah.
And there's swears in, kids dances that are 12 years old and stuff like that. So I really thought it was a niche market to offer a service to. So that's what I created. I already had Just Music and the logo before, because I was, recording friends' albums in my bedroom and stuff like that, just random little things. But I decided to focus the business on music editing for choreographers, because if they wanted to do that before, they'd have to go to a music studio, and they'd charge an arm and a leg, because they just charge ridiculous amounts for studio time.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought to niche my service out to those specific people, so they can instead of spending 3 hours of their own time, I can do it in 3 minutes, basically.
Okay, very cool, very cool. So kind of like what? So right now, are you still solo by yourself, and like, is this your full-time thing, or like, kind of give me some context as far as, I don't know if you want to share revenue or not, but like, just kind of like what you're doing right now and what you're trying to do.
Sure. The revenue isn't that high, so it's not worth sharing. But basically, I've picked up clients over the last 2 years, but I haven't really. That's just from having the website, Facebook, and Instagram, and the odd interaction. I haven't actually gone out and really pushed it. But now this year, the dance season has basically just ended, and so I'm going to start really pushing it, because as a performer, I can do that, but I have lots of time off to focus on a business. And so my plan is to start doing some cold calls now, and really just the hardest part is to let people know that this service exists, because it's something that has never really existed. It's never been an option for these people. Mm-hmm. They either ask their students that know the technology or friends. They don't. A lot of them aren't aware that the service exists. Yeah. So this year is going to be the push to really get the name out there and let everybody know it exists, which is part of why I wanted to talk to you today and get some advice on how to grow the business.
Yeah, so like, who would you be cold calling exactly?
Yeah, so I call dance studios. So I would talk to the dance studio owners or any teachers that happen to pick up the phone. I was on a North American tour of a show, a national tour through the States, and I was stopping in any city I was at to dance studios there. And every dance studio I went into, there was major interest. So basically, I just want to do that same thing instead of in person. I'm dreading the cold calling, but I would just call. So I look up dance studios in certain neighborhoods and call them to let them know the service exists.
Okay, all right. And then would you be, since you wouldn't be doing it in person, would they be sending like an audio file and then you would just be editing it from where you're at and then sending it back? Is that what your kind of the plan is?
Yeah, basically that's what happens. You just send a couple emails back and forth. They send me the audio file and the edits they want. Like cut from 35 seconds to a minute and 35, and then add a hit at a minute 35 and take out the swear word at the minute mark or something like that, Right. And as soon as they send me that, I do the edit and send it right back. And if they have notes, they can let me know. Otherwise, if they're happy, I send them an invoice and then they pay from there. So Cool. It's all done digitally, which is, part of the problem marketing-wise. I can't do targeted ads like you talk about so often with local businesses, right? I can target demographics and choreographers and dance studio owners, but I can't target a specific geographical location.
Right. Have you done any work for like influencers or anything that create the music and that would benefit from your services?
I've started to make some connections with like dance conventions and competitions that really that tour the countries, so that they can start spreading the word. And I've offered gift certificates, large gift certificates for them to give out as awards at their competitions, just so they can show their support to me, and people are aware of that.
Okay. Yeah, but like, I'm just trying to think, because, like, do you already have in your mind some like specific strategies you're gonna go after to advertise or like get your name out besides just the cold calling, or is there's something you've already think of doing?
There's not. I mean, that's the only one I can think of. Other than the problem with advertising in some of the dance magazines and stuff is it really is expensive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For the small amount of return you get on it, because in those dance magazines they count on those advertising revenues. So a lot of people don't end up even looking at those ads. And if I got a couple clients from it, right now my pricing scheme is I charge, the minimum is $12. So a lot of them come just to $12 a song.
Right.
And then after that, I charge per hour. So I'm trying just to hit people up one-on-one.
Right. Yeah, like I know a lot of what you do is now done like freelance, right? Like through freelancer.com or like these other workplaces that you can, you know, hire freelancers, because like a $12 that's kind of like where the market's at. But if you're wanting to create a brand, that's when you can create a real business out of it, right? Because like you don't want to be a freelancer the rest of your life, because then you'll be doing $12 songs the rest of your life, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And so like what I would recommend doing, and I was talking to someone last week, they created the music though. And for them, this was a little bit easier. For you, I'm not 100% sure if this would work. And that was I had told them about, you know, trying to get your music for this individual, their music onto really popular vlogging channels. So like they were going to reach out to like Casey Neistat and these other vloggers on YouTube, and that need music, like music tracks in the background, and that have, you know, 1, 2, 3 million views on their videos, and aren't necessarily known for their music, but they have a huge user base, and they need the music in the background, and they need it mixed together. They need multiple songs cut and spliced to their the audio track needs to match their video. And so that's what they've done, and even in the past couple of weeks, have seen like some, you know, really good progress. But like, I don't even know if that would be something that would be beneficial to you, and then just asking essentially, you know, hey, I'll do it for free as long as my name, you know, is at the very end on the credits or something. Because you know, if you have 2-3 million views on a video where you did the edits, and if they put your name at the end with a link or something like that, and you'd get something, right?
Well, yeah, it's never, that could never hurt, right? Because if anything, it'll help, you know, SEO for the website, really, to have those, to have links and clicks and stuff. But yeah, you're right because it's such a niche market, but it's a huge potential, because the dance industry and competition industry is so huge in North America that's why I've kind of niched down to this one thing. So unless choreographers are watching those YouTube stations, then yeah, but it's definitely that is something worth looking into. My other question that I emailed with was, you know, listening to your podcast and reading some other books and podcasts, people are always talking about making packaging, right? Packaging their services. Yeah. And with this, the thing is, if they send me a song and say it needs 2 edits to make it a certain length, competition length or something, one time that could take 3 minutes in a certain song, and 2 edits in another song could take 15 minutes for me to do. So I kind of explain it a long way by saying the minimum's $12, and after that I charge by the hour, and my software you know tracks it by the minute. But I wanted to know whether you thought really spending some time and putting it into packages was worth it.
Right. Like usually, you know, obviously I would always push someone to go towards packages and have those prices on their website. I hate, like, I don't know, I'm just one of those people. I think it's tending toward like the general consumers tending this way too. And that is, I hate not being able to see prices on people's websites. Like I hate when they like, you have to call for it or whatever. And I get why they want you to do that. They want you to like get in their funnel, but I usually won't call them. They don't even have the chance of getting me in their funnel because I never even bother to call for the price. So like I would always push someone to go towards packages, but then if you feel like you have a service such as music editing that is very customizable, then you just gotta get creative with how you package it, whether it be even like, you know what's funny is what was it? It was like he did like exercise videos, but he was similar. He was doing the edits for the videos of the of like workout videos. And what he did is he would literally package time. So instead of saying, you know, it's $60 an hour, he would literally just say it was, if you for 0 to 10 hours is $600. From 10 to 30 hours is like $2,000, and then he would just like package it that way.
Right.
And they get bundles of time, and then that way they can essentially. And then he just gave those packages names. He had like beginner, intermediate, and advanced producer like levels, and that's kind of how he did it. And then that way,
That's a super cool idea.
yeah, like it just made it easier because like right now, because like people were kind of freaking out that he was wanting to charge $60 an hour to do video editing. I was like, okay, but how long does it usually take you to do one video? He's like, well, I can do most of them in 5 to 7 hours. I was like, okay, well, let's say 10 hours and just say $600. People will look at your website, say $600 for my whole video, completely edited, and they'd be all over it. And so it's just like a perception of value, right? If you can make a package of, okay, for you get up to 3 hours, maybe yours is less. So let's say 2 hours. You can say it's going to be $100. You're going to get up to 2 hours of video of edit time. You're going to get, and then you can name all the other things that really don't take you much time, but they are valuable to the client, like things like different file formats, different options, different mixes of audio that you can literally change in like 3 seconds. And then just send them to them, like even things like Dropbox, like the like cloud storage, stuff like that they can, that is valuable to the customer, that doesn't cost you anything, but like makes that package really like appealing. And they'll say, oh, $100 for all of that. That's a great deal. When you might get someone that you would usually have charged $12 for that same service, but because it looked like a nice package deal for them, like they're gonna get everything they want, they'll go for the $100.
Yeah, I mean that's a super cool idea because a lot of the times the trouble is they're like, yeah, I think we're done, but we might have one or two more. So then I hold off invoicing them, and then all of a sudden it's a month later, and I have to get a hold of them and say, hey, remember how you owed me $20? And it's only $20. So it's like it feels so silly each time, writing them and hounding them for $20. So
yeah, I wouldn't even
almost like a retainer package thing. If it was like you get 2 hours, then when they run out of that time, then they can buy another package.
Exactly, and it would differentiate yourself. Like right now, if you're playing in the $10 to $50 market, you're playing in the freelance market. Whereas if you start saying, okay, like I'm not even going to touch anything if it's under say $50, then you kind of set yourself apart from all the other like freelancers, like and you can do more branding stuff, right? So like if I was you, I would do something like, okay, if you create $100 package and then did a whole bunch of spec work for whether it be vloggers or music channels or music video producers or stuff like that, and gave them free music for essentially just your name in the credits with your link. Then what I would be doing is giving other people free what's it called, a promo code, essentially, like that they can buy from your website. Like I don't even know, I'm on your website now. Can you buy, like I would make it actually where you can actually go into into your website, which by the way, your new website is cool. I like it.
Oh, thanks.
But I would make it where they can actually buy the package right from online, like almost make it like a cart. Integrate that. They can buy it right from there, upload the audio, and then that way you could give a URL to people and give a promo code. So like for instance, if there's a podcast that's around music or dance and they were a smaller podcast and you said, hey, listen, I'll give you $10 per every client that uses this promo code and checks out. And then what you do is they would say on their podcast, go to justmusicanddance.com, enter promo code, their podcast name, and then that would give their their listeners say like a $10 discount. It'd give them like a $10 commission fee, and then you'd keep 80 out of the $100.
Right, that's a really smart idea. Yeah.
So even if you'd get exposure on something like that, and you're not going to get that from like a big podcast. They're not going to do that for you, or a big YouTube channel. But if you go after a smaller one, like that has 3,000 to 5,000 listens per episode, or $10,000 to $20,000, 10 to 20,000 views on YouTube, something like that, and you say, hey, like if you do this promotion, you might make a couple $100 if people follow their link, and then. Like, honestly, if I was you, I'd make it really juicy for them. Like, if you're going to do $100 package, say, I'll give you $50 because you know, in the past you would have done that work for maybe $20 or $30, right? And what's really cool is now you're gonna get the money up front on your website instead of having to hound them with the whole invoice thing. I would always push people towards buying the package on your website so you have the money up front.
Yeah, and that's been something that I've been struggling with on how to do that, and not that upsell is a good word, but also how to, you know, get them coming back. And if they have money in their account because they bought the 100 or the hour or 2 hour package, if they have more time, they're going to want to use it.
Yeah, and
so they're going to find project. They're going to find project for me to do,
right,
rather than think of me only when they need.
And I would avoid the 1 hour package. The only reason is because just your communication with them. Like I know there's like emails and all of that stuff. Like that's time in itself. I would do like your minimum is like 2 hour packages. Even if it's less per hour, just to kind of, you know, bring the cost down a little bit. But then that way you have money to give to someone that you're going to give the link to as far as a commission, and you can give discounts to get people on there and like a URL. And I think that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And you know, I think I do have a really cool service, because the people who usually buy one song for $12 or one edit for $12 usually come back to me the next season and they're paying $300 because they sent me all of their pieces. You know, these choreographers do 20 different dances in a season. So I think with the packages, it just promotes having that right up front and not chasing people down invoicing.
Yeah, and like you could do something along the lines of like 4 different package types. One would be like single amateur, so it'd be one song. It'd be for like it'd be what you would usually charge $12 right now for. So like I'd say call it like a single amateur. Then you have like a single pro, which is gonna be someone that's making it still a single song, but it's gonna be like a whole lot more intensive. Maybe like up to 8 hours, you know, and then and throw in some random other services, whether it be a phone call. Like remember, like these are things that you can throw into a package that make a lot of sense. So like that single amateur could be very automated on your website. They don't really get a call from you. They get like an email. They get the thing sent back to them via a link. The single pro could be, you know, 8 hours on the song. You could give them the Dropbox cloud services like you have a phone call about it before and after the edit. Then you could do the same thing for an album. So like you could do album amateur and then album pro. So the album amateur is, you know, they get the whole album, but it's the same thing. They might get 12 hours of time. Whereas the album pro is for like something now that they're getting really serious. They might be putting this in some sort of production. They might get up to like 24 hours, whatever it is. Like you know those numbers better than I do. But like package those and then create kind of like that single and then versus the album, and then the amateur versus the pro package. So I would still push you towards packaging, but because the way your business works and you know how it works, like it's very time linked. It's not like you can buy a machine that makes it go faster, right? Like for us, we can charge more per hour if we get an excavator, but I have to pay, you know, $50,000 for the excavator, you know. But for you, it's like, okay, it's my time regardless of what happens here. I need to figure out how to package my services based on time, but then make all those other little things like phone calls, emails, cloud services, all those other little edits, make that valuable for them, and then package that all together with your service.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I never thought of packaging time like that. It really is a
it's crazy. This is crazy. Justin, like even like when I do, because like 90% of what I do from the podcast is free, like these calls and all that. But then some companies will want to pay me for it to do like more ongoing stuff. And so I use basically the same models that you're doing. Is like I do most of my stuff for free. And then if people really like it and they are into this sort of thing, they're going to pay. And I do the same thing I'm talking about now. Is like, okay, I have, you know, you can get a single, like one time, once a month, or you can do once a week. And then you can, like, it based upon like the size of the company, they get charged differently. Like, so I package all my time. Like I would never tell someone that I charge them $500 an hour. But if I say, okay, it's going to be $10,000, you're going to get once a week for 6 months. And we're going to do an hour-long video call, and I'm going to record it for you, send it to your team, and I'm going to, you know, edit them all out so you can send them to your, like, put them in a training thing for your sales team. Like, that's all valuable for them.
Right.
And like the time is what they're paying for. They're paying for my time. Like, they could get a lot of the same information off, you know, the podcast. They could get it off of videos, like whatever. They could probably call me and get a lot of the information for free, but like they're willing to pay for my face-to-face time and get me. And so what I would do if I was you is, you know, you create a little bit of branding, whether it's you creating a podcast around what you do, like that'd be kind of cool. About, you know, you talking about how to do this, how you know, all about music and dance, for instance, and attracting the choreographers to you. And it's not going to seem like a big pain for you because you love this so much. You're willing, you're cool with talking about it. And it doesn't have to be about editing. It can be about music and dance, which is going to attract the people that will need your services. And then they are very happy to pay. When, you know, after a year or two of listening to you, learning from you, they're happy to pay for an hour of your time. And then all of a sudden, those packages that were used to be $12 for a service, you can mark them up to $100 because you gave them a 10-minute phone call about their song that you're editing.
Exactly, and I've kind of learned that from your podcast and other places. Like, I'm not afraid to tell people how to use, you know, GarageBand to edit their own music. If it's a simple edit that they can do, then I'm willing to spend that time to teach them how to do it, because in the end, that's not where I make my money. I don't make my money off two simple, you know, edits in a song. I make my money off the projects where it's 5 different songs and change the tempo of this and add a hit there, you know. So doing a podcast or vlog or blog or whatever to share those skills with people who are going to do it, you're right, they will be more willing to, if they have a bigger project, come to me.
Yeah, and it
because
doesn't,
I helped them out.
Right, and it doesn't necessarily, if you were to create some sort of content, whether it be on social media or a podcast or a vlog or whatever, it doesn't even necessarily have to be about music editing, because that's going to be a pretty narrow market and you're going to attract the people that do what you do. I would actually be trying to attract the people that are just passionate about music and they don't really necessarily have your skills. Because, and even from a content creation point, like it'd be kind of hard to create a lot of consistent, interesting, new and unique content around editing services. But it'd be, you have an endless supply of gossip, and all the other stuff that happens in the music and dance industries, and new hits and movies that are coming out and whatever it is, and you can analyze the music and other, like, and really go for the people that are really into that stuff, the choreographers, the dancers, all of them, and then they start listening to you as the kind of like the authority in that kind of realm, and then you'll attract the people that are actually going to become your clients.
Right. Yeah.
And I have a feeling. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that kind of leads into like another question I had. If you have a quick sec for it, when I first started a couple of years ago, I kind of went to a bunch of business friends and said, what's more likely to get hit if I treat this company as if it's large and use the words like we are willing to do this and our team will do this, even though it's only me, or whether to make it really personal and it's Justin and back then they said use the we and our, but I feel like it's shifted, and especially with my, you know, I'm not famous by any right, but you know, there's a following of theater people, and I've done some pretty major shows that would be recognizable by North American dancers and dance owners. So, is it time now that I kind of switch that language on my website to make it about me? So when I do the blog, it is Justin Stadnick talking about this.
Yeah, there's a tipping point. Like when you're first starting out, it is like, as far as attracting clients and bigger clients, especially, using the we and acting bigger is better. But then you get to a point when you actually get the fame, you know, the quote unquote fame, or like recognition, where it switches. For instance, like if I am, let me think about this. Do you know who Casey Neistat is? The blogger that I just mentioned, the vlogger? Do you know who that is? No. Okay. All right. So let's say there's some, influencer on YouTube or vlogger that's really popular. when they're small, they usually try to act big. When they get bigger, if they offer like 1 hour of their time doing a video chat and talking to one of their fans, like people will go ballistic over it, right? They'd be all over, like, right? Because it's now them, their brand is them, right? And so, especially in music services, video editing, like this sort of industry, it's very much about you and your brand. And that's why I would suggest doing something like a podcast or a vlog or a blog or however you like to communicate, and doing it in your industry, because then what happens is people identify and they begin to buy you more than the service. Because right now you're a freelancer, really. Or like to most people. That would just find you on the line, say, okay, this guy looks good. I need a song. They're coming to you for the utility of editing a song instead of coming to you because Justin, the music artist, has been entertaining me, has been providing information for me for a year. Like when they come to you because of that, they pay way more. It's the difference between buying an Apple product versus some random Japanese phone. Apple has the brand, and people are willing to pay way more for it. And so it's the same thing when you create a personal brand around yourself. You no longer are selling the utility for which your service would be, music services. You aren't selling music services. You're selling the fact that they're doing music services with you, Justin, the guy that they've listened to and learned from and laughed at, and you've shared your life with, and now they feel like they're on the inside when they get to use your service, and they will no longer go to a freelancer that offers the exact same utility function, but they don't have the brand, which is you. iPhones do 90% of the same thing as an Android, like some random brand out of Japan, right? But like, because the brand is recognizable, people will pay 5 times as much for just pretty much the exact same thing.
Right. And to throw a small wrench in there, if my business goal down the line is, because my time's limited, to get so big that that I do have other people doing the edits, so I have contract workers under me that, if I get all of a sudden in the busy season, I get 50 in one day, I send it to my editors that do it.
Right.
It's still worth right now connecting Justin Stadnick to Just Music.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And I'd say even down the road, even as you get bigger, it still is, because now you just raise your price. Now if you ever start working with, big celebrities on music, like they're still wanting to connect with a one-on-one. They're still looking for the best of the best. They still want to know you and talk to you, but they're going to be paying, 100, 1,000 times more than the average person is going to be. And so it's just that your packages would change. You'd still, these $100 packages would be, they'd never get access to you. The music would be done by your corporation and someone underneath you. But then your $10,000 package, they get to talk to you. So as you grow, all that happens, the brand doesn't change. They'd still be buying into you if they are buying a $100 package, but they don't get access to you. For instance, as I grow with the podcast, I'm not going to be able to do this the rest of my life, because as I grow and I get more and more calls and stuff like that, eventually this has to get paid, or we have to limit this sort of thing because I don't have the time. But right now, when I'm growing it, and it's about me and my brand, it's all about free. It's about, packages are a whole lot less money. For you, it's the same thing, right? Right now, it's $100 package. As you grow, I'd still keep the brand around you. They just for instance, when companies, especially in this music realm, they'll buy from the owner of a company that does this sort of choreography or production. They don't really get access to them though, unless they pay a huge amount of money, or they pay, or they're doing a huge project, right? And so that's what you'd eventually be doing, right? You'd still have your personal brand, but unless they're paying a big package, they don't really get direct access. But when you're smaller like you are now, I'd go for that all day long.
That's awesome. Amazing.
Cool. All right. Well, hey man, it was good talking to you. Let me know how it works out. The thing about your industry is it can literally take 1 or 2 amazing, kind of breaks of luck. You get on someone's, a great artist's kind of radar or something like that happens, and then you're off to the races. But I think a lot of times people get kind of down because it can be a long road, right? It can be a long road of disappointments, or you don't get the breaks, and just kind of a lot of spec work and doing it for free sort of stuff. But That's what I would push you to do. You know, kind of try to create some sort of a influencer around your brand, whether it be creating some content for people in that industry, and then also figuring out a way to package it on your website so people can buy from your website, and then use that venue for URLs with influencers to give them money, and then also promote your name to their audience.
Awesome. That's super cool. Thank you so much for taking the time and spending it with me.
No problem, Justin. You're close by here, man, in the island. That's pretty cool. So, but let's stay in touch. Let me know how it goes. I know it's not like it sounds easy when I talk about it, but I know it's, you know, it's a long process and stuff. But hopefully, you know, you got something out of it, and then we'll stay in touch.
That's great. Thanks so much, Mike.
All right, Justin. Have a great evening.
Thanks, you as well.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.